So there's that constant chatter, that noise that seems to always be there. That's food noise. That constant call, right, to eat, even when you're not hungry. If you've ever found yourself thinking about food nonstop, craving something just because it's mealtime, or even scrolling through food videos while fasting, this episode is for you because food noise isn't real hunger. It's your brain's way of holding on to old habits. But we're going to talk tonight about how do we get out of that. There's good news. You can break free from it. And tonight, we're going to dive right in. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life that we've always wanted. And we are living a limitless life. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. And we're breaking free from those boundaries. We're breaking free from those obstacles. We're not allowing anything from inside of us or anything from outside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be metabolically healthy and to improve our wellness. Hey, if you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music and let you know that we are excited that you are here. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments, like I said. And if you have questions, put that in the chat because we want to make sure that we get to those questions as we're looking through the questions tonight. I'm excited. I am now 29, a little over 29 actually, hours into this week's fast of 72 hours. You know how we do. I've got my monitors. I've got my report that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. So I've got my clarity, not my clarity, but my contour and my keto mojo meter. And then right below me, that is my Dexcom clarity report that we'll take a look at and go through, see what's been going on with me blood sugar wise over the last several days since we met on our Dwain Woode MD Live show a couple of days ago. Well, so I'm glad that you're here. If you have not already done so, an amazing thing that's happening right now is our 100-day walk to consistency and health. We are in day 60. What day are we in? We're on day 65 or thereabouts. You want to make sure that you are joining us. It is another tool that we're using to help us on our way to establishing consistency and a routine for our health. Often we don't succeed, not because we don't have drive, not because we don't have vision, not even because we don't have know-how. We don't succeed because we don't have structure. That's right, we don't have structure. We don't have a way of making sure that we're not relying on our feelings at the particular moment. We're not relying on the weather. We're not relying on other friends to do for us what we need to do. We want to make sure that we're being consistent. And the 100-day walk to consistency is an amazing series that we've been going through to help you build those habits that will help you set yourself up for success. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm is the general tenure of your life. What is the rhythm? How do you function? What are the thoughts that you have? Are there routines that you go through? That's the rhythm. The alignment is, are the things you're doing sending you in the direction of what you say you want to be and what you say you want to do and what your purpose is? Rhythm, alignment, and then structure are those things that you put into place that will help make things automatic. These are the systems that you've created. These are the cues and the reminders and the phone calls and the things that are in your circle, that are in your life, that will make these things automatic. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. And the 100-day walk to consistency is a way of doing that. So let's go ahead and let's have a conversation. We're going to set some backdrop to what we're doing. So we are in the process of moving through our Limitless Living series. It is the path that we are walking in order to be successful and in order to set ourselves up for metabolic benefits. How do we create a structure? How do we walk through the path of being metabolically active And how do we walk through that idea that we are creating a space where we are being successful in reversing our diabetes, our high blood pressure, our high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome. How do we fight the food noise, right? That's one thing. How do we deal with the obesity? How do we deal with the metabolic syndrome that comes? And that's the path that we're walking down as we talk about our limitless living. We're using several tools to be able to do that. One of the tools that we've learned is this idea of balanced bites, the things that we eat, the things that we nourish our bodies with, the food that we eat, every bite counts, right? Every bite counts. The 100-day walk to consistency and health is another tool that we're using to be able to do that. And then, of course, fasting is an amazing tool that we've been using in order to become more insulin sensitive, to begin shedding some of those pounds that we've put on, to help with the food noise. Once again, you hear that phrase, to help us with the fatty liver, and to also decrease our inflammation. That's another function of fasting, so that we are overall helping our body be in the space that it needs to be successful in our health. That's what we're working on. And so on our show, Dwain Woode MD Live on Mondays, we kind of walk through the path. We're walking down that path. And then every week we do a fast. And right now I'm doing a 72-hour fast. As I said, I'm a little over 29 hours into this week's fast. And the reason we're doing the fast is when we do the fast, we are able to achieve several of those things that we just talked about. Remember, our goal for reversing diabetes, or the pillars for reversing diabetes. One, we decrease insulin, we suppress the appetite, and reduce sugar. Decrease insulin, suppress the appetite, reduce sugar. And when we fast hits all of those pillars. When we're fasting, we're not putting anything in, so automatically we're reducing the amount of sugar that we're putting in our body. When we reduce sugar, we don't have the spike in our insulin, so automatically our insulin levels have gone down. Because we don't have the spike in insulin, and we know that insulin is an appetite stimulant, we decrease our appetite. So by fasting, we've hit all of those major pillars and all of the other additional metabolic benefits that we talk about in terms of insulin sensitivity, burning fat, reducing the sugar that is attacking and being converted into fat into our liver. We decrease insulin, and it currently, we know that insulin dysregulates our pituitary, which is one of the causes of polycystic ovarian syndrome. You see the cascade, and it's like a domino. We hit one, and everything else begins to improve. And so that's why we're doing fasting, and this is the first installment of this week's fast. We are doing a 72-hour fast, and right now we're a little over 29 hours in that, in the fasting in that direction. Okay, here we are. And so that's where you've caught us. We're going to do a check-in here in just a minute where we talk about how I'm feeling, because often people don't fast because there are symptoms that they have. And we're going to walk through that and talk about how I'm feeling here. But tonight, the major thing that we're talking about is how do we help with the food noise. And we'll do a little introduction to that here in just a minute and let you know how that came about and what that is, right? Because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So I do see some of our community members that are out there, so we're going to hop over and say hello to you. I think I saw, let me just grab, let's see, who do we have out there? I think I saw Juyon, who was the first one that popped in. Hey, Juyon, she says, hey, doctor. Hey, Juyon, glad that you're here. And she says, I am 44 hours into our, okay, far. Okay, I'm happy I am making it. Awesome, awesome. Congratulations. Here's some music for you to say congratulations. Steve, hey Steve, how you doing? Steve is saying great job, Gian. She says, I failed at fasting last week and binge, but this time I'm prepared fasting. Okay, so good job for you. Thank you, Steve. Gian said I was binging all last week, though. Jennifer says, congratulations to Gian on the fast. Hi, Jennifer. Howdy, all, from Jennifer. This is our 1-year anniversary starting the fast. Oh, my goodness. There you go, Steve, 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 Steve. I'm gonna let that play a little longer for you, Steve. Come on, man. Somewhere in here I have I'm not sure where that is, but somewhere in here I have some confetti. If I find that, Steve, we'll pop that up for you guys. Congratulations on that. That is an amazing feat. As amazing feat to be able to do, and it shows consistency, right? Consistency. So let's see. Let's see if I found it. Steve, here this. Let's see if no, I don't think I found the confetti. But anyway, maybe I'll find. No, not yet. But we'll keep looking for that, Steve. But congratulations. That is an amazing feat. One of the things, and just to make a point here, to help you celebrate, one of the things that often we struggle with is this concept of consistency. And that's why the series that we're doing in the morning is so good, because it helps us maintain consistency. It's a way of putting structure. And for you, I am so excited because it shows that you have made a decision that this is what we're going to do. We are sticking in there. We're not allowing anything to distract us, and we're moving forward. So to be 1 year in, great job for you. And great job for your wife. Let me say that. And we're very proud of the decision you've made and the success you've had. I know there were some challenges as we went through the year, but here we are 1 year in. So good job for you, Steve. Very good, very good. All right. So let's see. So that was Steve, 1 year in anniversary. Gion says, great, Jennifer. Wow, congratulations. Steve saying, hello, Jennifer. It's our lifestyle now. I love that. Love that. It's not just a thing that we do every now and then. It's the tenure of our life. And that goes along with that rhythm that we talked about just a minute ago. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. And I'm glad for that. And then Cornelia says, Gion, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome, Steve. Peace and power to the Wood Gang. I love that. I love that. Thank you for coming through. And so let's go ahead and let's hop over. Let's take a look at blood sugars. And so this is what my blood sugars have been the last 12 hours. And you'll see there near to the end of the day, starting right maybe about 5:45, 5:30 or thereabouts, the blood sugar dropped below 70. And what we're looking at is this spot right here. That is where my, you see the squiggly white line? That is my blood sugar graph. And near the end of that is where you see the red line. That's below 70, right? So we've gone below 70 there. Let's take a look at, this is my Dexcom. This is a G7. And let's start with looking at the 12 hour. And it looks similar to what we saw on the Libre. And you'll see we started out at 97. And as we went throughout the day, down, and down to 70, and then 60s, and then pop back up a little bit. If I look at the 24-hour mark, we'll see over here, we started out in the 80s, and then we've been fluctuating up and above the 70s right in here. So went up to 80s, down below 70, and then back up. And I think the highest that we've been today, let me see. The highest we've been today is I think 98. Yeah, highest we've been 98, and then continually dropping down as we went throughout the day, right? And these are the numbers that I have been expecting, and you guys know if you've been following that over the last couple of months, we've had higher numbers. And I went to my doctor the other day, and we were kind of talking about that. And one of the points I made to him is that often people will say to me that, I was sick and my blood sugars went out of control. And, in our current thought process, right? What we typically will say is, and when I say current problem in our former process, we typically would say is, we need to control the blood sugars anyway, right? And that's the kind of the thing, almost like, well, you need to make sure that that gets better. And I told them, I said, I have a little bit more compassion, right? Because I was living that over the last month and a half. So for those of you who are out there, if I fussed at you, hey, you know now that I've seen it and experienced it, and so I can say, yeah, it's a real thing. All right, so that's what my blood sugars are, and that's my Libre and my Dexcom. Let's go ahead and hop over here, and this is my Contour. It's my Contour and my Keto Mojo, and let's hop over and let's get. Let's go back to this view for a minute. And so I'm just going to grab a test strip for my Contour meter, get that in there, and then grab my handy dandy container that has, so brown, if you remember, is the brown is the glucose and the blue is the ketone. Oh, I got two of those. Let me put one back. And let's go ahead and open this up and get that ketone strip in here. And the Keto Mojo will give me both the ketone and the glucose. And I forgot to grab my Lancet. And I'm going to go ahead and open this one also and just have it off to the side. If I can get it open, let's see. And I'm going to actually put this up on the screen. And so you guys can see, and you'll see that number fluctuating there, 70s, then below 70, and then right at 70. So let's go ahead. And this one, I really just grab a finger. And I like these because I get to put as much pressure as I need to get that. And that hurts just a little bit. Okay. So let's see if we get I want to get a brisk, yeah, there we go. A good drop. And we're going to go ahead and start the Keto Mojo one. And I already see some people starting to put in their guess for my ketones. And once again, I am 29 hours into this week's fast. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? And there's my blood sugar. This is my Keto Mojo. And you'll see compared to what my Libre is saying. And 75. So both of these are the same. And then about 5 points different from what the Keto Mojo says. Let me keep this blood flowing, because if not, I have to stick myself again. Let's go ahead and grab this out and get that started. So I think I see someone says a 0.9, and then I saw a 0.8 in there. So let's make sure that this will work. Let's see. All right, so that's good. I thought I was going to have to do another finger stick. So anyway, so while that's running, we'll let that go, and we'll come back and we'll talk about where that is. Okay, awesome. All right, so then let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's do a check-in. And the check-in I usually do because I want you to know how I'm doing in 3 different areas, and these are the areas typically that people will have struggles with. And that's how we're doing physically, how we're doing mentally, and how we're doing emotionally. Let me get this headphones out of the way. All right. So how we're doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. These are the 3 spaces that people will often find themselves having issues with. And so that's why I go through this. Whenever you are doing anything, whenever you want to change something, whenever you're working on improving, whether it's your health or some system that you have, you always want to do a check-in. And here, these are the 3 domains, if you will, where people will struggle the most. And notice that the 3 domains that we're talking about here, physical, mental, and emotional, are the very first 3 domains that we talked about when we talked about our domains of health, right? So we've done so far when we did our limitless living inventory, we came up with that structure, and we've been walking through this mini series that we're doing on the show, our domains of health. And they are, the first 4 that we've done actually is physical, right? We did that. We did the emotional, we did the mental, and then this past week we did the spiritual. So we've done those 4, and you'll see here that the first 3 are in keeping with what we're doing when we're checking in, because those are the places where people tend to have the most challenges, most difficulty. So physically, what people will say is that they feel as though they are drained. They feel as though they're walking through quicksand, walking through mud, feel like they're hitting a wall at the end of the day. And right now, I am not feeling any of that. In fact, last night, I came home and I have been, the last several weeks, been kind of running, if you will. And you guys know a couple weeks ago, there was a whole bunch of things happening. And so last night I came in, I went to my son's room, talked with him for a minute, and then, took my shower as I came in, getting ready for bed because I didn't have a show last night. So usually I go talk with him, and he was studying, and I said, okay, I'll be back. And I went to our room, and I laid down, and I fell asleep, and that was about 8 o'clock last night. And I didn't wake up until 6 o'clock this morning. So I got good rest, apparently well needed, but I've been doing a good job of resting. And so right now, in terms of my energy, in terms of the physical part of my checking, I'm feeling very good because I'm not feeling as though I'm sluggish. Also, I've been doing a good job of hydrating. So I've got my mug. And because I've been doing that, I'm not feeling lightheaded, sweaty, dizzy, palpitations. Usually those will come when we are not well hydrated. And I'm not feeling that because my heart's racing, once again, because I think I'm doing a good job of hydration. The other aspect is our mental. You know, as our energy goes, so does our thought process. If you are not well rested, if you are not sleeping well, your reaction time, your thought process, your problem solving ability is almost similar to someone who's intoxicated. And because I'm well rested, mentally I'm feeling good. I'm feeling alert. Got through today and actually had a great day. Taking care of patients, and actually spent a lot of time today doing a lot of coaching in our office, because it seems like a lot of people who were coming out of the holidays, were experiencing some of the things I was experiencing in terms of high blood sugars for various reasons. And so we spend a lot of time today not just talking about blood sugar and medication, but spending some time talking about, are we existing in limitless living? Is that our rhythm? Is that the rhythm for our life? Are we aligned, right? And are we putting structure in? So that process today was very good as I went through. So mentally feeling very clear, and then emotionally excited because this is a great week, right? So things seem to be, the things I'm doing are aligned with what I say my purpose is. Right, we had a great opportunity last week to share with one of our local churches, Limitless Living. We were there with them, got into this week, and am doing exciting things in the office, helping patients, and then preparing for some activities with the family coming up. So emotionally, I am full. And if you've been following me on the 100-day walk to consistency, you'll remember one of the things I talk about is the fact that you can't give to other people what's not inside. Like, I can't pour into you if I'm empty. And so because of all the things that have been happening and all the things where my alignment is there, I am feeling full. And so I am pouring out, and emotionally that is charging, right? That fills you with energy. Remember, the body is the vehicle that takes us into success. The mental aspect of our health is what steers us. And the emotional aspect of our health is how we are responding to the things that are going on in the world and those things that are around us, our interpretation of those. And that is what comes out in the emotion. And so because there's rhythm, there's alignment, there's structure, for me right now, emotionally feeling very good. All right. So let's see. And I think, I was going to go back to my ketones, but we're going to hold on to that. And let's make sure that I did not miss anyone in the comments. So Cornelia, we saw that, and Gian saying hi, Cornelia. Thank you, Cornelia. Gian says 0.6. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to star that. Steve says 0.8, and these are guesses for what they think my ketones are going to be. Jennifer says 1.2. Jennifer, yay, I like that. And Steve said it took me 6 weeks to get my blood sugar regulated again. Yeah, Steve, that my heart is going out to you, man. And for all of you out there who have ever fussed at, okay, I apologize. No. Gian says 0.9. Let's see. And Gian says, okay. And Cornelio says, awesome job, Steve, pressing through the experience. Many people lack your level of determination. I'm 63 hours into my fast. My blood sugar is 183 and my ketones 2.4. Cornelia says, I guess 1.0 is what she's guessing my ketones are going to be. So I start all of those. So let me see, I make sure. So Gian says, so Steve says 0.8, Jennifer 0.2, Gian says 0.9, and Cornelius says 1. So I got those all starred. So let's go ahead and let's talk. Let's talk. So food noise. So food noise, first of all, is not real hunger, right? It's your brain's way of holding on to old habits. The good news is that it is something that we can ease up. It's something we can break. It's something that we can begin dealing with, right? Today, I'm 29 hours in, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is it's usually at the 24 to 36 hour period where when we're fasting, the food noise becomes loud, right? So we're going to talk tonight about the science behind why your brain keeps asking you for food. Some practical strategies to shut down food noise and stay focused. And most importantly, how conquering food noise is part of limitless living, right? Why is it part of that journey? So if you've ever felt food has too much power over you, right, this is the episode that you want to watch. Hopefully, and not hopefully, but it will help you take the power back, right? Most help you take the power back. So at 29 hours, right, the body, and this is where I am, the body is in a transitional phase. And as we've been talking through through our review of fasting on Fridays, right, we talk about the different phases. We talk about what's going on 6 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, and so forth. So we're moving from relying on glycogen to fully switching into fat burning. Right, and so I am just at that point now where we've just either doing that or about to do that, and you can tell from blood sugars really what is going on, right, as the body is fluctuating. And let me pull this up for a minute so you can see that. So you'll see there at the end, my blood sugar is fluctuating between slightly above 70, and then below 70, right? If I look at the Dexcom, we probably get a clearer view of that because we can actually see those numbers. Let's go ahead and grab that. We can actually see those numbers, right? So we're at 70, we're coming down, and right at the end here, right, we're 69, we're 70, and so it's going back and forth. So my the blood sugar itself is dropping, right? So my body is using up the sugar that's floating in my blood. And then it has to go find it somewhere else, right? So is that point where we're fluctuating back and forth, and that is a good place that we want to be in. I actually get excited when I see my blood sugar go below 70 and then come back up, right? And I'm not talking about skyrocketing, but just what you're seeing right now. I get excited because that means that if my blood sugar is below 70, that means that I'm using up all the floating glucose that's in my blood. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if my blood sugar goes back up, where did the body get that from? It had to go find it. And if the stuff in my blood is gone, where is it getting it from? It has to go to the liver, and when the liver gets depleted, it now has to go to my fat cells. Does that make sense? And so I get excited there, particularly, and I haven't looked at my ketones yet. I get excited when I see my ketones are elevated and my body is fluctuating between those low and blood sugars above 70, because it's like I explained, it has to go find it. And when I see ketones, I know it's finding it from the fat that it's burning, that's converting into ketones. And then, as we said, glycerol is there as well. And the glycerol part gets turned into sugar. Okay? But as the body is fluctuating, as the blood sugars are fluctuating, and we're burning fat and we're switching to that mode, while your body's adapting, your mind is still catching up. Okay? So we just got a message there that I'm low. All right, so the mind is still catching up. This is where food noise becomes one of the biggest challenges, because we're switching over and we're just on the cusp. So most people during this period is when they find that the food noise happens. And food noise, once again, is not real hunger. We've spent some time before talking about psychological and physical hunger. We'll spend a couple more minutes here. It's the persistent thought. This is food noise. The persistent thoughts, the cravings, the distractions relating to food. Even when your body does not physically need to eat. If you've ever found yourself thinking about meals, scrolling through food content, or feeling cravings just because it's a certain time of the day, that's food noise at work. I have people, and myself, right, and I shouldn't even say people, I've experienced this, where you get up, and from the time you wake up, you're thinking, okay, what is my food? What am I going to eat? What is for lunch? When you eat lunch, okay, what am I going to have for a snack? When I have a snack, what am I going to have for dinner? And then, of course, as I mentioned before, when I would come home, and this is outside of fasting, right? This is like every day. When I would come home, on the way home, like if I came home on Thursday, and if I didn't plan to go out on Friday, because we don't see patients on Friday, I come home, and on the way home, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I'm going to be at the house for the next day or so. What am I going to eat? And it's almost like I got into a panic to say, okay, I've got to go find some stuff, and I've got to stock up, and I've got to keep things around, because I know I'm going to be thinking about food. Okay. So why is the second day, right? This is now, we moved from 12 hours with 24 hours, and I've moved into the second day of my fast. So why is the second day of fasting more problematic, right? Because food noise tends to peak between 24 and 36 hours. That's why. Because your body is depleted. Glycogen is depleting, right? Remember that. So glycogen is going. The last stored carbohydrates are running low, but ketone levels are not fully optimized yet. So as you'll see, as you fast longer, the ketones go higher and higher. And that's why you see people who are guessing, okay, maybe it's a 0.5, maybe it's a 0.8, maybe it's a 1, right? Maybe it's a 1.2, because as you fast, it gets higher and higher. We want ketones to be a 0.5 or higher. And as we're getting through this 24 to 36 hour period, the last amount of carbohydrates that I've eaten, that is what I've eaten before, that's in my blood and that's stored in the liver, all that is just about done. But the ketones haven't fully kicked in yet. They're there, but they haven't been optimized. So the levels of ketones have not gone up like we would want them to be. And so the hunger hormones are also shifting, right? So ghrelin spikes in waves, right? The hunger hormone. And this can create temporary cravings. So my blood glucose levels are going down, my insulin is going down, and what should happen at this point is that my leptin levels, if I've done a good job of preparing for the fast, see, it's all tying together. If I prepare for a fast, then I have eaten proteins, I've eaten fats, I'm in ketosis, and so the ketones, the proteins, and the fats that I've eaten coming into the fast are helping me remain satiated. In other words, I'm not feeling those hunger pangs. If I've done a good job, then that is not a problem. But if I ate a lot of highly processed, high carbs, refined sugar, then I may be getting spikes, and the insulin level that's there may be causing some dysregulation of ghrelin, and so that can make me feel hungry. Okay, so this is the hunger hormone. The other thing that happens is we're breaking habits. So your brain is used to eating at certain times. So it's kind of like you've trained your brain that at 6 o'clock we eat, at 12 o'clock we eat, at 3 o'clock we eat, or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it is. So whenever that time is approaching, the brain is still in the rhythm, right? It's still in the rhythm of doing that. And so using that idea, right, is one way that we can train our bodies to be able to withstand certain things, right? Because once you get into a rhythm, and that's the whole idea of rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. If you're in that rhythm and you have structure, every time that time comes, whenever that's happening, your body is ready for it. So if you exercise at 6 o'clock in the morning, the day you don't exercise at 6 o'clock in the morning, you feel like something is not right, because your body is used to it. The hormones are there. The muscles are ready. The thought processes are there. Just like that, because we are so used to certain habits, when we're fasting, the brain is still in that mode, right? And so it wants us to eat at that time, even though we're not hungry. The other thing is that we are detoxing from dopamine. Right? So dopamine is that satisfaction hormone. It's that, okay, I've got it. I feel good about it. I'll get that hit, that burst of energy that we get, that comes from dopamine. So we're getting detox from dopamine. So food, especially processed foods, they trigger a dopamine hit, right? Because they're so packed with those calories, it's packed with sugar. There's not a lot of nutrients in it, right? I was explaining to someone today that in our bodies, a normal blood sugar is between 70 and 99, right? So let's round up to 100. So if that's a normal blood sugar, right? That's 1 gram. 4 grams. That's 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1 teaspoon. So when we are eating things that have, we say something has, 2 grams of sugar, or 3 grams of sugar, or 4 grams of sugar, or 5 grams of sugar, or 17 grams of sugar. We're talking about lots of teaspoons of sugar. And that sugar causes a dopamine hit normally. And so when you are starting to fast, you feel that absence, if you will, of those pleasure spikes, and that leads to cravings. Right, so there's this combination of things that's going on, and this stage is when your mental processes begin going out and say, okay, all right, do I need to get some stuff? Am I going to find some stuff? Where there's things around? One of the things that I struggle with in this time is what's called scarcity, the scarcity thought process or mindset, and that is my brain begins telling me, hey, you're not eating. You're missing out on a bunch of stuff. And so I was talking to my wife today, and we had breakfast in the office, and she said, hey, do you want me to save you some stuff? And I was fasting, and I told her, I said, yeah, go make me a plate. And then I went back and said, put some more stuff in there. But guess what? I'm not eating for another 2 days. Why am I hoarding? Because my brain is saying, hey, you're not going to get more. You got to hoard it. Right? So there's that mentality that happened. So what exactly is food noise? Food noise isn't, and I keep saying physical hunger, it's about habit, addiction, and mental association with food. That's what it is. Food noise. It's the habits, emotions, access, and taste that we've talked about, right? Those triggers. There are all those things that are there that constantly bring up the thought of food. So physiologic hunger and real hunger. Remember, real hunger comes on gradually. It feels natural. It is that my body needs energy. But food noise, on the other hand, it's urgent. It feels like I got to do it right now. and it's tied to specific foods. I was telling someone today in the office, like I've never had anybody say to me, hey, I have food noise and I'm thinking about broccoli. Or I have a craving and I'm thinking about Brussels sprouts. Yeah. Right? What they say is, hey, I want some chocolate. I want some candy, some cookies, some ice cream, some juice, some soda. Right? It's urgent. Like I gotta get it now. Or I'm not gonna be able to survive. That's food noise. So where does it come from? It's the biological programming. Your brain has been conditioned to expect food at certain times. When you don't eat, it sends unnecessary signals because it's like, hey, give me. But that's what we've trained it to do. It's a biological programming that's happened. And of course, we have those pathways, right? The dopamine pathways we just talked about. And of course, the reward pathways. So eating food releases dopamine. That is a given. That is a known thing. Eating food gets dopamine out. So the brain's pleasure chemical is what that is. And so without food stimulation, your brain starts asking for more. It's like, okay, hey, it's been a while. I didn't get any dopamine. Can you give me something to eat so I can have some dopamine? We've been accustomed to that. And then, of course, there are cultural and social triggers, right? So seeing food, seeing someone eating, smelling food, or just watching cooking. We'll do that. I was doing one of our videos, right? The 100-day walk for consistency. I was walking by our office, and across the street from the office there is a shopping center. And in the shopping center they got stores, but a lot of the things in there are restaurants, right? So there's I wouldn't call it a restaurant, but anyways, lots of restaurants in there. And as I was walking, minding my business, I started to get all those smells that were coming on. And automatically my brain was like, okay, you need to get some. You need to get some. You need to get some. So I actually had to walk a different way away from them to prevent that thought process from continuing, right? And then there are emotions tied to food. So a lot of us eat when we're bored. We eat when we're stressed. We eat when we're happy. Right? So it's not about negative emotions, it's just about emotions. And so without food, those emotions come up if there's not an outlet. Right? Remember, the outlet is kind of like a balloon, right? So you blow up a balloon, and if you keep putting emotions in without dealing with them somehow, then eventually that balloon is going to burst. And that's what happens when we talk about the emotional impact of food and how that works. So why does food noise feel so intense at 28 hours? This is where I'm at, 28, 29 hours. That 24 to 36 hours, right? So you are in a metabolic limbo, right? Your body is burning up all the sugar, the carbohydrates, burning up the glycogen, and ketones are rising. So we're at that point where we're switching over between like burning a battery in a hybrid car or burning gas in a hybrid car and getting ready to burn the battery. Your brain is still wired for food-seeking behaviors, right? So what are some common signals for food noise during fasting? Well, one, thinking about food constantly, even if you're not hungry, even if you've just actually had right before you came into the fast. Even if you don't feel physically hungry, you don't feel lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, palpitation, all of those things, the food is there. You're thinking about food constantly, even if you're actually not hungry. You're craving specific foods. I want some salty stuff. I want some sweet stuff. I want some crunchy stuff. Those are all the things right there for me, right? Sweet, salty, crunchy. That's why my Cadburys are so good. Because I get all of that, sweet, salty, and crunchy. If you eat the ones with the nuts in it. Feeling hungry at normal meal times, right? So that's another sign. This is a realization that your body is in a routine. And so wanting to eat because of boredom, stress, or routine, right? So not true hunger. And this is not a sign that you need food. It's your brain unlearning old habits. Let me say that, unlearning old habits. So as you fast more and more, as you get better at fasting, then those the transition happens more quickly. Let me say that. So as you fast, as you get better at fasting, as you are doing it more and more, your body becomes adapted. When you first start fasting, it takes you longer to get into ketosis. And as you fast, as you get better at fasting, then your ketosis, you get into ketosis faster. The other thing is, it depends on the food that you ate prior to the fast. If you ate some things that are highly processed, high sugary foods, then it's going to take you longer to process those out, and you will have continual cravings during those first periods of the fasting. Okay? So all of that will make an impact. So how do you manage and how do you silence food noise? Right? So the key to overcoming food noise is understanding that it's temporary, that it's psychological, and that it's controllable. Right? So it's temporary, it's psychological, and it's controllable. So number one, we want to break the dopamine addiction. So food provides an instant dopamine hit. But fasting helps to rewire the brain and to help you find pleasure elsewhere. As I pointed out, continue to point out to my my patients, my clients, community members, it is that we need to find alternatives, right? So when we talk about the COPE model, remember that we clarify, we observe, we pause, and we execute. The pausing part, right, that P, is to allow our thinking brain to come up with a different solution, to allow our thinking brain to come over the amygdala so that we don't have the amygdala hijacking. And when we do that, then our brain can give us an alternative to do rather than eat. So rather than eating something, which is the typical buffering, right? When we get that, if we pause, it allows our brain to basically rewire to go and do something else. So we replace food dopamine with movement, for example. So go for a quick walk, do a stretch, or engage in some deep breathing. Call someone, right? When you move a muscle, you change a thought. Engage your brain in some deep task, reading, writing, working on creative projects, or tackling some problem. All of those are ways that we can begin shifting from the dopamine hit that we're expecting. And you can use fasting as a mental training ground, right? So think of it as a challenge. Can I learn to ignore my cravings and focus on something bigger? Right? So let me say it this way. So our brain has the ability to create for us the environment that we want. It's called visualization. So the brain has this uncanny ability to accept what you're telling it and to create an environment, to create a version of ourselves, to create a situation that is what we're being told. Now, when we do that, right, when it's negative, right, we talk about, deception and so forth, but we can use that to our benefit. We can create a successful environment where we have fasted. We can create an environment where food noise is not there, when it's not as loud. We can create an environment that we put the brain in, and that brain creates that for us, and it then looks for ways to help us succeed and looks for ways to help that come true. So we're talking about mental training. Right? So number one, we want to break the dopamine addiction. Number two, we want to change our environment. The surroundings that we're in plays a huge role in our food noise. When we're in the kitchen, when we're near a restaurant, when we're near food-related things, when we watch videos on the social media, right? And I'm guilty of that, right? Sometimes when I'm fasting, the food noise is there, and I'll go and I'll scroll, right? So if we keep ourselves occupied, then that helps us divert from the food noise, right? When we're idle, when we're not doing anything, we go right back to food, right? We begin thinking about it. And one of the things I'm going to do, and do I have I'm going to write down. So what I want to do is we're going to come back. We're going to do a show where we talk about we talk about this idea of visualization, right? So I'm going to write that down. Visualization. Right. But we want to get away. We keep our mind occupied, because if not, we go right back to food noise. We're going to get outside with fresh air. We want to do a mental reset. And then we want to hydrate. Did I say hydrate? We want to hydrate. Did I say hydrate? We want to hydrate. Many times, hunger is a signal that we're actually dehydrated, not a signal that we are hungry, right? When we feel hungry, not physically hungry. So drinking water with electrolytes is a huge one, right? So when we do that, salt, potassium, magnesium, let's drink herbal teas, right? This will help suppress the cravings, and they provide some warmth, they provide some comfort. It also helps to soothe the GI tract. So particularly if you're during fasting, you find that you may have some upset stomach, this will help. Carbonated water can help mimic the feeling of having something to consume or something in our mouth. I love the burn that comes from soda, right? So that, for me, during fasting, sometimes that can be a challenge because I want that feeling. And I've actually gone away a little bit from drinking the zero sodas. I have some over here somewhere. Because when I drink them, that carbonation actually causes me to feel a little bloated and feel full, and I don't like that feeling, right? But if you like that, if you need that, then that's another way of being able to hydrate, right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like water." Well, water is good, but you can do other things to help you stay hydrated. And then you want to disrupt the habit loop. So when food noise strikes, when it comes, you want to do something completely different. Do that for 5 minutes, right? This is the idea. Move a muscle, change a thought. Move a muscle, change a thought. When we move, the posture that we're in, the way we're sitting, the way we're holding, our clenched feet, clenched jaws, our clenched fists, all of those have an implication on how our body's going to respond to the things around us, respond to our thought about food. But if the food noise comes and we already have a plan, remember rhythm, alignment, structure. The plan is when I get that, I'm going to get up. You don't have to have a plan about what you're going to do when you get up. I'm going to get up. And the moment you get up, that muscle that just changed, the thought goes with it. Change your position. Stand if you're sitting. Stretch if you're being still. Chew gum. Brush your teeth. The act of chewing tricks your brain into thinking maybe you're eating, or just the movement of the muscles. Take deep breaths. Right? All of that. So hunger often causes peaks in our stress level, particularly if we're in a stressful environment. And that stress level will push you to eat. It has those cravings. So when we do deep breathing, we are decreasing our cortisol levels, and the decreased cortisol levels helps us with the stress. And then the other thing that we can do is we could reframe the food noise, right? And this is a limitless living perspective. Reframe the food noise. Instead of seeing food noise as a struggle, see it as a sign that change is happening. I want you to hear me. So change is happening. What food noise really means? It means that your body is shifting into a new metabolic state. That I am in the space where my body has burned the carbohydrates. The sugar is gone. And I'm about to, or I'm in the midst of, changing over the source of energy. That is a good thought. That is a good process in the body. Also, you're gaining control over cravings rather than being controlled by them. That I'm doing what I need to do, right? Remember, nothing from inside, nothing from outside is going to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful in my metabolic state. So these are things you're telling yourself. You are resetting how your brain and your body interact with food. Silencing food noise isn't about more than fasting. right? It is about taking full control of your relationship with food and breaking free from unhealthy patterns, right? It's about more than fasting. So ask yourself, do I really need food, or is it my brain just reacting? Is it just reaching out? Is it just because of a habit? What would I normally eat right now, and why? If I ignore this feeling, will it go away in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes? And the answer is yes, it will. Usually in 10 minutes. So what's coming next? What's coming next? So at 48 hours, food noise significantly decreases, right? As your body fully adapts to fat metabolism, because the ketones are there. Remember, ketones will help your body feel fuller longer, and it will send a signal to the brain that you are not hungry. Right? Ketones become your brain's primary source of fuel, and this leads to mental clarity. It leads to reduced hunger, as I just mentioned. On Friday, we are going to do a check-in at 72 hours, and hopefully you'll do that as well. I'll do a fasting review, and there we're going to cover how to prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast successfully without struggle, and how to break the fast properly to maximize your health benefits. So remember, your power over food noise is that you are in control. Food noise is not real hunger. It's an old pattern that's playing on repeat, right? So you've hit the repeat button and it's going over and over and over. The more you ignore it, the more you challenge it, the more you push through it, the weaker it becomes. What we're doing is we're reprogramming the brain. Neuroplasticity says that we have the ability to make new connections, new neurons. This is what limitless living is all about. Not being controlled by the cravings, not being controlled by external distractions, or not imposing self-limits. It's about you doing what you need to do to be successful. You are training your mind. You're training your body for true freedom. So push through. Stay the course. Let your body do what it's designed to do. Limitless living says, nothing inside, nothing outside is going to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful in my health space. So do you want to be successful? Then this is the space. Limitless living says that you can do this. And fasting says it is an amazing tool that gives us amazing benefits in our metabolism. And specifically for adults with type 2 diabetes, we can use this to reverse our diabetes. All right? Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's see what we've got. I think I heard some comments going through there. Let me see make sure I didn't miss any. Let's come back. So Cornelia had guessed 1, I think is where we left off. Let's see, Cornelia says 1. So wow, Cornelia, 63 hours fasting now. Yes, Cornelia, that's amazing. Gion says, great job. Wow, great job indeed, Cornelia. I hope I could do that someday. Thank you. I'm so happy for you at 44 hours. Yes, I knew you could do it. Great job, Cornelia. From Steve. Thanks, Steve. Thank you. From Gion. My hubby just had me pick him up Chick-fil-A. I made it home, and this live is so on time. There you go, Cornelia. See, I knew that. I anticipated that. No. Oh, Bowie says, hello. Hey, how are you doing? Cornelia says, hi, Bowie. Howdy, Bowie. Gion is saying, hello. Cornelia, you mean you cooked while fasting now? No, you picked up. Yes, I cooked you cooked for him today. I picked him up food after work and the gym. Okay. This Sunday, I had a sip of a sip in high hop restaurant while fasting. I watched my family eat and just ordered nothing. Oh, Cornelia, you're strong. Oh, Bowie says that. Sorry. Cornelia says, wow. Wow to you, Bowie. That is tough. High five. That's real discipline. You as well, Cornelia. Let's see. It takes a lot of practice. It was hard at first for the first few days. Last night I saw the headlines regarding the 25% tariff of Canada. My brain said food is going to be really expensive. You should eat. Oh, yeah. See, look at that. See, look. You see all the things that our brain does, Cornelia. Yes, I agree, Bowie. As the doctor said, the 24-hour period is a challenge. Cornelia says yesterday I had constant intrusive thoughts of food, but when I checked, I wasn't hungry. Then I asked myself, what do I want more than the food right now? Okay. I answered clear vision, reverse insulin resistance, PCOS, type 2 diabetes, and feel like vibrant, healthy, beautiful, strong, and glowing woman. Oh, look at that, Cornelia. You give you music just for that. I don't want to trade food for those benefits. Boy says, I learned about myself too. I realize my brain wants to eat when I'm anxious or even when I suddenly feel relief and want to celebrate. Yes. That's a good one right there. Now I take deep breaths and listen to music. I love that. Bowie says, that's beautiful, Cornelia. Cornelia says, yes, me too, Bowie. Good idea. Good ideas to reset. I love it, love it, love it. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is amazing. That when we fast, there are so many things that we learn. And I've said to you before that there are so many non-metabolic, right, benefits of fasting. And some of it is what you guys are talking about in the chat, that we begin to see where we've been using food for various things. And we begin to see some of the things that we've got to address. We begin to see how our thinking happens, right? So like Cornelia was saying, because she heard about the tariffs, her brain said to her, hey, food is going to be expensive. Now, my brain would have told me, now go to the grocery store and get some food, right? See what happens? And so that kind of thinking, right, is what fasting sometimes will allow you to do. It'll allow you to make those connections when a lot of times we think, okay, we just like food. Well, it's not that you just like food, it's that there's something that's going on. There's some thought process that's involved with that. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at my blood sugar. And of course, because I was talking, it logged out. And so let me get back in there. All right, and we'll just take a look at blood sugars, and then we'll come take a look at what my my ketones are. So let's hop over and let's do this one. Yeah. So blood sugars right now are my average blood sugar is 125, and this is the last 14 days. And so as I mentioned to you, this is now coming out of the whatever was going on with me metabolically with the higher blood sugars. And you'll see there 6.3 is what my average is. Sorry, what my glucose management indicator is. I'm in target 91% of the time, right there. Target being 70 to 180. And if I were to get an A1C, then my A1C would approximate 6.3. Remember, the glucose management indicator, we can't call it an A1C, but it's an estimate of what the A1C should be. And if I look at my daily patterns, we'll see here. So here is what my blood sugars have been doing the last day or so. Now here, let's see what happened. There's a whole period here that's missing. I'm not sure. Was that off? But anyway, so from here to here is what's been going on over the last day. And you'll see going back into yesterday. And so now I'm 29 hours in. And so fasting, my blood sugar continued dropping. And then into today, it's been below 100 for most of the day. Prior to that, right in here, right? We were in the low 100s. And these are the numbers, right, in terms of my normal blood sugar that I would expect to have seen. Once again, as we went through our show on Monday, we kind of walked through this again as well. So in the low to mid hundreds, there was a spike right there. And so these are spikes after eating, right? So spikes up. And these were the numbers I was getting maybe 3-4 weeks ago into almost a month and a half. So these were the numbers that I was getting. And then you'll see now that they've come back down into more manageable. Even here, where I was eating for most of that day, you'll see that I think the highest it got up to was 170, 172. And then on Friday, of course, we were fasting and we broke the fast up here. For most of that day, we were in the low 100s to 90s. On Thursday, of course, we fasted that entire day in our 72 hours, and those numbers were actually pretty good. And moving forward, this was Wednesday of last week, right? And so when I fast, people say, well, why do you do a 72-hour fast? Well, one of the reasons I do a 72-hour fast is I want you to see what blood sugars look like more than just one day, and what can happen to blood sugars more than just one day, and how I'm feeling when I'm fasting for more than just one day. Okay, and then of course I have my own metabolic challenges that I use fasting personally to help. Right, part of it is my whole concept of reversing diabetes, improved metabolic disease, my improving insulin resistance, and of course my weight. Right, so I use fasting as a way to manage my weight. You guys get all of that. All right, so let's go ahead, and right now my blood sugar is 72 according to my Dexcom, and I want to hop over and let's get rid of this. We're going to look at my ketones. All right, so go ahead and let me get my app up. And so when I checked my ketones on our show on our last show, my blood sugar was 97 and my ketones were 0.5, and that's what you see there down at the bottom. And so now I'm going to go ahead and turn the Keto Mojo meter on, and then we're going to hit the sync button, and so it'll pull that data over so we can see what it is now. And let's see, we had some guesses, and let me pull those up again. And so Gian says 0.6. Well, she said 0.9. She changed. So Steve said 0.6. Jennifer says 1.2. Gian says 0.9. And then Cornelia says 1. Oh, it turned off. Let me turn that back on. It says it cannot find the device. We're going to try it again. For some reason, it turned off. And let's see. There we go. Okay, so we just pulled the data over. And so drum roll, please. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. And boom. So 75 was my blood sugar and 1.2. So Jennifer, right? So Jennifer said 1.2. So I'm going to pop that up here. So Jennifer said 1.2 is what she thought it was going to be. And there you are, Jennifer. Awesome. Right, so you made it. Congratulations. So when we think about ketones, we want ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So when we're talking about metabolic space and reversing diabetes and weight loss and all those benefits, if we're trying to remain in ketosis or even ketogenic diets, we want our ketones to be 0.5 or higher. And as we fast longer, then the idea is that the ketones are getting higher and higher. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at the graph that goes along with this. And let's see. All right, so here we are. So when I ended my fast last week, right, that was on Friday, ketones were 2.4 and blood sugar was 73. And you'll see there the ketones, which is the turquoise line, that's high, and the blood sugar, which is the tan line, is low. And then as the blood sugar goes up, right? So we went from a 72 up to a 97. When the blood sugar goes up, insulin has to come out to bring the blood sugar back down. And the moment insulin comes out, then the ketones will go down. So that's what you're seeing there. So ketones were high with low blood sugar, 73. And when I say low, I'm not talking about low as in hypoglycemia. Low as in lower than, right now it's 73. So that's not hypoglycemic, because below 70 is called hypoglycemia. It is just lower than it had been before. Okay? And so the ketones, when the blood sugar goes up from that 73 up to 97, the ketones then drop from 2.4 down to 0.5. And then, of course, what we have now is that my blood sugar going down to 75. Once again, you're seeing that trend. And because the blood sugar is lower, the insulin is lower. And because insulin is lower, then my ketones now are going up. So the great thing I love, as I mentioned before, is that I'm seeing the blood sugar fluctuating right around 70. So it's going below 70 a little bit and up above 70 a little bit and below 70 a little bit. And that's what we're seeing. And I'm going to show you this one because I think you can see it better. That's what we're seeing right there, right? You see the blood sugars, the white graph. You see the red part. Those are blood sugars slipping below 100. And I love to see that where it goes below 100 and then comes back up. Like right now, it just went to 71. And the fact that I have ketones. So what that says to me is that my body has used up all of the glucose in my blood that's been floating around. It has gone to the liver and it's taken the glycogen out of the liver, right? Because of my ketones are 1.2, that means I have to be burning fat. And if I'm burning fat and not burning sugar, why is my blood sugar fluctuating? Because the body is now using that to convert some of the glycerol to sugar. And that's why I'm getting that, right? That fluctuation. What I love to see is when that blood sugar gets below 70 and it kind of hangs out there, when I still have ketones that are 1.2, 1.3, and even climb higher, because that means that my body is fully switched over and I'm now burning ketones. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. All right. So that is our fast for this week, right? So the food noise that we get through, that we have, is about retraining, rewiring. It's about us becoming metabolically adapted to burning ketones. It's about us retraining our minds, making those neural connections where our food thought, right? The food noise, and I said food thought, but I meant food noise. The food noise is becoming quieter because limitless living says that it's about, it's not about controlling those cravings, not being controlled by those cravings. Let me say that, but we are making changes. We're making strides. We are working on rhythm, alignment, and structure. The rhythm of our lives is limitless living. The alignment is that what we're doing, the behaviors, the thoughts, the actions, the learning, the education, all of that is pushing us in the direction of what we say our purpose and our why is. And we've put structure to it so that it becomes automatic. It doesn't depend on whether I feel good today. It doesn't depend on what the weather is today. It doesn't depend on if I'm hurt or somebody hurt my feelings or I'm depressed. There's structure, and the structure automatically makes it a process that you fall into on a daily basis. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. That helps us to be successful, and that helps us with the food noise. So remember, everything that we do is built on our Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows that we do, the blogs, the podcasts. We encourage with the tools that we're learning. Fasting, balanced bites, 100-day walk to consistency. All of those are tools that we're using to put ourselves in the best position of being successful. And then we encourage with the community that we're building, this amazing community. And you see all the information that you're seeing there, all the chats, the comments, every time you put something in there about what's going on with you, you're encouraging someone else, and you're inviting them to open up and be transparent and to come alongside you. You're giving them the benefit. Do you know how much benefit you get when you help somebody? Both mentally, it gives you emotional support when you're helping someone else. And so by sharing your story, even if it's a story of, oh, I can't do this, or this has not been successful, I'm having this challenge, and someone says to you, hey, you can do it, those words that they use may be beneficial for you, but it's also beneficial for them. Because there's power in us reaching out to other people. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. And so when you come, I want you to be sure that you are fully engaged, that you're implementing the things that we're learning in your life. Don't just let it be theory on the video or on a piece of paper, but it comes to life when you infuse it with action. Your action brings it to life. And then share this with somebody else. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now that are diabetic or pre-diabetic. You can be a voice for change. You can say to them, there's a place where we can go, where we can watch some videos, where we can get some education, where we can begin learning tools, where we can have support from a community so that we can be successful. And this is the place. So don't just send them, but bring them. Come. There are so many videos that we have on this channel. And I think I've mentioned that we've broken up the 100-day walk to consistency into different weeks with different topics, with different subjects. The New Year, New You is going to have the same thing, where we're breaking those up as we walk through that path. And as we walk through Limitless Living, you'll begin seeing those as well. So you can go to specific groups of videos on specific things that we're doing, specific concepts that you want to do. You may have to watch a video over and over until you get it, until it sinks in, but that's okay, because Limitless Living says that's what we're going to do. Well, as always, I am always excited to be here in this space with you. I'm always glad that I am able to talk with you and share with you and encourage you and be encouraged by you. We will be back as we do our fasting this week, so tomorrow, and then on Friday for our review. We'll be back Saturday night for Video from the Vault, and then on Sunday, Video from the Vault Saturday night, This Week in Review on Sunday at 6 a.m. as we recap what went on this week. Remember, for the next 2 weeks, for the next two Dwain Woode MD Lives, it won't be a live show, but it will be something in this space for you. Make sure you come on, encourage each other, and have those conversations. Make sure you are also dropping into the membership area to encourage each other and to be successful. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. I'm always excited to be here. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we are living a limitless life. And limitless living says that we're not allowing anything, no boundaries, no borders, to stop us from doing what we need to do. We're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. Nothing from inside of us or nothing from outside of us is going to prevent us from being and doing what we need to do to be metabolically healthy, to improve our health, and to reverse our diabetes. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at our next show. We'll catch you in the membership area. We're going to post that link here in just a minute. Good night.